It is 2020, and this is my first podcast episode of the year. Before I say anything else, I just want to say Happy New Year. And this year, and I feel like this decade, just this energy is just going to be something that is phenomenal. And I say that because I just feel good vibes, and I think I just entered this season with a new verve. Like, the only way that I could explain it is saying I'm back. And when I say I'm back, let me just rewind and paint a picture of the young me who was this aspirational, goal setting, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, Forbes 100 type of girl. I just believed that I could attain anything and get anything and achieve anything. And I had all of these goals and dreams and ambitions. And in my mind, there was no other fathomable reality other than me attaining these things. Then life happened, and depression happened, and mental health happened, and anxiety happened, and failure happened, and just different paths that weren't meant for me, and I was on them, and like life basically happened, and the learning curve of the realities of the world and the universe and life really happened, and I had to go through it. I had to reevaluate, I had to live, I had to exist, I had to understand that spanners are going to be thrown in the works and how to get past it. I had to feel real pain, and I had to go through true real life lessons. And now I'm sitting there at the other side of it, and I'm like, you know what? That girl is back. But not only is she back, she's a hybrid of herself. It's funny because we as human beings, we run away from pain, we try to avoid it, we try not to even get attached to people as to not feel it. But pain is the biggest catalyst for growth. Without going through certain things, I would have not understood them the way that I did, and I would have not evolved the way that I did. That is why I know it's cliche to say, but pressure makes diamonds, and it's really symbolic as people and as human beings. The greatest people in the world will tell you that their trials, their tribulations, their obstacles are what made them who they are. Why? Because they got to the other side of it. By the way, if you can hear birds in the background, I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. But that is what made them who they are, because not everyone can get to the other side of an obstacle. The reason why most people don't attain their dreams and they don't achieve success is because 90% of the people out there are not only too scared to try, but once you try at the desires of your heart and you fail and things go wrong, you get this crippling fear and anxiety that you can't achieve it and you can't attain it and you can't go for it. And that is so false. On the path to your, it's funny, I saw this quote recently and it said, I knew I was on the right path when things stopped being easy. It's almost like sometimes when you start going for what you're going for, I mean, in the beginning, like you'll attract the right people and things might start moving at a motion, but you're gonna get a lot of spanners in the works. Things are gonna go wrong and aren't gonna run smoothly a lot of the time. Why? Because you're tested before you can reach and achieve what you're attaining for. And I think it's funny because back in high school, I think I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 15, changed my life completely and the way that I saw the world. I'd always wanted to be successful, and I was that kid who's like, I'm going to get color coded, private jets, etc. Not that the book itself was preaching this changed view that I now had. What I got from reading the book and like the evolution of thought was that, okay, I'm going to be successful, but I'm going to be successful and I'm going to help people. And I was now obsessed with reading biographies, books about people, researching on billionaires and businessmen, and 15 CEO by Cameron Johnson had that. And like I was obsessed with entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs, and I heard Strive Masiwa's testimony at 17 that completely changed my life. And all of these people that I looked up to, there was just one commonality throughout all of their stories, is that they had to get past a trial. And I think it didn't really sink in that I had to get past the same type of thing. I had to go through a trial and get past it to become me. And I think I'm sitting here and I'm like, I finally feel me. Before, I felt like I was putting on a facade for other people, I was living for other people, I had to show a different face for other people. But I can honestly say, sitting here in this moment, I am comfortably myself through and through. I know I still have a lot of things to achieve and accomplish and just get through, but I'm comfortably myself, and that is like the most beautiful thing. I wake up every day and I'm comfortable in my skin, and I know I'm going for what I'm going for. Now, enter into 2021. I think 2020 for a lot of people was a lot, and reflecting back on that year, I just want to send love and just saying that you are seen to people who have lost their jobs and their loved ones, and even got affected and infected with the coronavirus and survived through it, because I know the whole experience must have been so scary. We are literally living in a post-apocalyptic movie. It's insane. Like, these are the type of things that people make entire trilogies about. You know what I mean? The life and times of 2020. However, I do believe that everything that happens in the physical realm is a manifestation of what's happening in the spiritual slash vibrational realm. And there, it's almost like, as a mass consciousness, we had to be forced into a halt, because people needed to face themselves and their stuff, and they had to face the ghosts in their closet, because we had almost become mechanical. We were running on autopilot, and I understand that because I had to run on autopilot for a long time. It's almost like I was waking up and living each day and going back to bed, and I was on autopilot because I couldn't handle. I was so depressed that I switched off, and it's almost like I was having an out of body experience. And I experienced that for like years of my life. And then 2019 came, and I was like, you know what? I'm facing my stuff. I'm growing my soul. I'm raising my vibration. And a lot of the motions that people went through in 2020, I voluntarily put myself through in 2019. I self isolated as to separate myself from a lot of people's energy so I could figure myself out. I literally quarantined myself basically, and I had to go through those emotions and that pain and that confusion and that depression. However, I guess the blessing was that there was no life threatening virus looming over my shoulder. However, this did happen this year, and I think I was able to use the tools that I learned not only to survive this year, but to aid a lot of the people that I spoke through this year. I mean, last year, I guess, 2021. And I think, like, before 2020 started, we knew that it was going to be a year that shifted people in the energy community, pastors, preachers, whatever it was, like energy healers, tarot readers. Everyone could feel the energy of 2020, and we knew it was going to be a year of mass awakening. And I think what forced the mass awakening was because people were left with themselves and to their own devices. And a lot of the time, when you are put down on your knees, you have two options. You're either going to grow your spiritual side, or you're going to dive headfirst into whatever vice it is of your choice. And people had to lean on something. You're either going to lean on drugs or alcohol or sex or whatever you're addicted to, or you're going to find your spiritual truth. And a lot of people found their spiritual truth, and people started waking up. This awakening, this global awakening, happened worldwide. And because I'm so aware of energy and I can feel the frequencies of the world around me, I could feel a lot of people waking up, but there's a lot of turbulence that comes with that, because when you wake up, like you go through a spiritual awakening, people think like, oh my gosh, nirvana, now we're in heaven. No, you're going to go through a spiritual awakening. 9 out of 10 times you're going to lose most of the people in your life and like your friends, because the thing is, it doesn't fit anymore, it doesn't work anymore, your energies aren't even compatible anymore, and there's no vibrational alignment there. You're going to have to face your stuff and your pain and everything that you're avoided, because in order to enhance as a person, you have to heal and you have to grow. I think the biggest step for me, especially in 2019, was admitting that I was wrong in certain situations and accepting the fact that I did certain things. Victim mentality was something that kept me locked not only in my pain but in the place that I was in life, and I had to step out of that space. I couldn't stay a victim within myself, and I had to acknowledge the fact that I was toxic too. All those motions, meditating, being still, and understanding the language of God and the universe and the angels around him. I started seeing numbers everywhere. I started being able to hear God's word as he spoke. And it's funny because you're literally translating a frequency. I mean, some people are clairaudient, that's your gift, but interpreting what is being downloaded and what is being said to you is interesting, because as human beings, we perceive, or we think that the divine is going to speak to us the way that we speak to each other. But if you think about it dimensionally, we're only in the third dimension. There's a fourth and a fifth and a sixth and a ninth and a tenth. Like, there's so many different dimensions. And what is common through all those things? Energy, vibration, and frequency. So God literally speaks to a frequency, and so do angels. And I'm not saying this to take away from the fact that God is source energy and he is all powerful and he created everything. No, I'm not taking away from that. I think that is the interpretation of the frequency that people get confused with. Like, even intuition, the more you raise your vibration, the stronger the connection between you and your intuition gets. And why is that? Because your intuition is your higher self, and your intuition is your spirit, and your intuition is how God and the divine speaks to you. So as human beings, we have an ego complex and we get separated from it. Like, the more we go through the motions and we get plugged into the matrix, like, the greater the separation between our intuition, which is our higher selves, and our spiritual selves, and our current human complex, which is why people raise their vibration. You raise your vibration because you're closing the gap and you're creating a smaller bridge between who you are now and your higher self. The reason why Christ was because there was no separation between the two, which is why as he spoke it and manifested, there was no separation between his humanity and his spirituality. Which is why when you raise your vibration, you start manifesting things so much faster. And the thing is, like, I saw this thing on TikTok the other day that said, the law of attraction is evil and you need to stay away from it. Okay, let me just quickly break it down for people so they can understand. Literally, okay, so I am made in God's image and likeness, and God is a creator. And as He spoke it, it created. God spoke through His word. He said, "Let there be light." There was light. He spoke things into existence. So as He is, I am. God said, "I am," so I am too. As He is, we are. I believe from when we are born to when we die, we create this universe as creators. So the people that you see, the places that you visit, the choices you make, you're creating this universe. And I see myself as a creator. I am a creator. I am made in God's image and likeness, which means I create my reality as I exist. And I believe that that is the basis of the law of attraction. The reason why so many religions and practices and just spiritual understanding is centered around that truth is because that is literally what we are. We are creators. So that's why they say the power of the tongue. Don't speak negatively about certain things. Don't say certain things, because your words are literally manifesting themselves in the present, which is why I said that's why Christ was Christ. There was no separation between the two. His higher self and himself were one, which is why as he spoke it, it manifested. He was God. He is the Son of God, the Trinity. So when people say things like the law of attraction is evil, it's like, no, God and fear don't exist simultaneously. God doesn't exist where fear is. And as long as you know that you're rooted in love, you're fine. It's just certain people that you listen to, or certain teachers and healers, like, they're evil people in every single sector. The same way that they aren't going to be 100% great cops or teachers or whatever it is. The same thing reflects in the church. Not every tarot reader is going to be genuine. Not every pastor and church is going to be genuine. Not every single preacher or teacher or prophet is going to be genuine, but that reflects itself in anything. Not every musician is going to have the best intentions. Not every, you know what I mean? Basically, it's like I think you should just follow your intuition and go as you feel like you in the direction that you should go. Like that's why we raise our vibrations and we connect to our intuitions, because let your intuition guide you. Never follow a man, guys. That's the main thing, because there's so many teachers and healers and energy readers and pastors and preachers that I follow that I really like, and I feel like they have a good word or message to impart, but that doesn't mean I agree with 110% of everything that they say. They're human too, and they're going through their life journey and evolving in their thought processes and their understanding. We just should never blindly follow. The one thing that we should always aid into is the connection to God and Source, and we should just keep on growing and enhancing that as people. And I think 2021 should be the year that people follow that gut instinct. And my gut instinct is just at an all-time high, and I feel like I'm finally out of the funk that entrapped me for so long, because in the transitioning period between like rock bottom and depression and just literally being like a zombie to being a fully functional productive human being that I know I am, you kind of have to like pull yourself out of the sludge. Like I had to drag myself out of the depths of whatever I was in, and I literally had to just I had to I just had to transition. Like I would keep on getting down on myself because I wasn't this productive, on top of everything person that I used to be. But I had to understand that that's okay. Like you can't just go from 0 to 100 straight away. Like people mistake depressed people for lazy a lot of the time, because you just don't have the strength or the motivation or just the will to do anything. And regaining that fire, that burning passion and the will to do things at an extremely productive and efficient in a in an extremely productive and efficient space is hard, because you have to go through the transition period. But I'm standing in 2021 like, yo, I may not be at the optimum, but I'm in that region and I'm gonna make my dreams come true. 2021, I'm making my dreams come true. I'm working on my company, and I'm definitely like, the main thing for me is music. Like when I say that I want this, people don't get it. Like I want to make music so much, but the thing is I'm independent and I have to do everything myself. I have to find these beats, I have to record this music, I have to work with people, I have to make these videos, and I have to pay for it out of pocket. And it's just striving and striving and striving and striving, but I'm gonna make it happen, and I'm manifesting it and I'm speaking it into existence. You can hold me to this, but I'm making my dreams come true in 2021. And all excuses are going out of the window. So I challenge anyone listening to this, make your dreams come true this year, because that is my declaration for the year. 2021, I am back and I'm making my dreams come true. This is literally the first episode that you're listening to in 2021, and it's going to be short and sweet. I know, like, I dove into energy and I just took it's so funny because Maria gets in a car. Like, imagine this podcast is a car, or any conversation that I have with anyone is like you're going on a trip. I will think that we're going to one destination, but I'll take like a million pit stops on the way there, but it'll all make sense when the journey is over, because there's a wholeness in it. Like Steve Jobs said, you can never connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect them looking back. So trust in whatever you believe in, that the dots will align for you as you move forward. And that is what I believe 2021 should be about. I'm going to leave it at that because literally I'm looking at my camera. I record on my camera, by the way. I'm looking at it and the battery's about to die, but I really wanted to pump out this episode. It has been really hard to record them lately. However, I am committing to posting a podcast episode every single week for the rest of this year because I just deserve as much. Last week's episode kind of got lost in the woodworks because, yeah, it just didn't work out that way. But 2021 is a new year, and this podcast, my goal is to at least get 1,000 listeners per episode on the day that it releases. So that's my goal for this year. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I'm sending you the best vibes for 2021. I think that this is going to be a year where it is where we make it and we're all understanding the power that we have within ourselves and the power that we have to manifest whatever it is that we desire. So I'm leaving you with that. I am giving you good vibes and I'm challenging you to achieve and reach for your dreams this year. I'll catch you in the next episode.
Roundplugsquarehole.